Hello, students, and a warm welcome. I hope each one of you is keeping well by the grace of God. Our topic for today is Chapter 7 Rocks and Rock Types. In this chapter, we will understand what are rocks, the three types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. We will also see the distribution of the major rocks in Maharashtra. Observe the pictures given in figure 7.1 on page 40. What do you see? Yes, you're right, boys. Figure A is showing you a landslide. Figure B is showing mining, and figure C is showing you sea pebbles. Let us answer the questions. What is the hill in A made up of? The hill in A is made up of soil and rocks. What is being done in B? In B, the process of digging is shown. The land is dug and the rocks and soil that is extracted is loaded into a truck. What do we see in figure C? In C, we see pebbles and rocks of different shapes, types, colors, etc. Is there any relationship between the three things shown above? Yes. There is that these are all pictures of naturally occurring processes on land leading to rock and soil formation. Next question. For what purpose do we use the thing shown in figure A and C? What do you think, boys? Yes, boys. We use things shown in A and C for construction purposes, constructing buildings, houses, rooms, and colored pebbles are used for decoration. It could be in your fish tank or it could be in potted plants. In several other places, sea pebbles are used for decoration. We have seen last year that the Earth's crust is hard. It is made up of rocks and soil. The Earth is a huge ball which is divided into the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. The crust is the thin rocky layer we think of as the Earth's surface. Its thickness changes from 80 kilometers to 5 kilometers. And the Earth's surface, that is the crust, has all the soils and the rocks. The mantle is the layer is rock hard, but it actually flows around the outer core, moving about slowly. The outer core, this layer is also made up of mostly iron and nickel, but here the metals are melted into a very hot liquid. This hot liquid forms a layer that moves around the inner core. And right at the center is the inner core. The center of the earth is about 6,000 miles below the earth's surface. It is a solid ball made up of mostly just two metals, iron and nickel. What are Rocks. Yes, boys. What are rocks? We take it for so granted. We play with stones, we play with those, with the mud. But did we ever question ourselves what are these made up of? Or how do they come into existence? Yes, boys. The earth is a beautiful creation, and rocks are a homogeneous mixture of different minerals formed by natural processes in the lithosphere. The properties of rocks depend on the constituent minerals and their proportion, as well as on the formation process. So, boys, a rock is a naturally occurring solid mixture of one or more minerals or organic matter. Rocks are classified by how they are formed. Their composition, that is a mixture of what kind of minerals, and the texture. How do they feel when you touch them? Okay, the outer layer. The rocks change over time through the rock cycle. Now, let us understand what are rocks made up of. They are made up of minerals. What are minerals? A mineral is a naturally occurring solid inorganic substance that has definite chemical composition and structure. Naturally occurring means not produced artificially. It is a natural process. No one can do anything about it. It has to happen naturally. Inorganic means that it does not contain carbon from a living source. That means there is no mixture from anything, be it plant, animal, bird, anything. It's just by itself. So, boys, now let us understand what are the properties of minerals that are present in the rocks. The first property is that of streak. It is the color of the powder left behind when a mineral is rubbed against a rough surface. So that will make you understand whether it is what kind of rock it is. Hardness. The mineral like talc is very soft and diamond is extremely hard or the hardest. So hardness. Then we have last one is luster. It is the way the minerals reflect light from its surface. There are two types of luster. One is metallic luster, which is shiny, and the other is non metallic luster, which is dull. You can see the images of rocks that have the metallic luster or and the non-metallic luster. You can see at times some rocks are shiny, some are very dull or just pale black, some have a shine on it. So this brings about the shine. The minerals in these rocks are feldspar, quartz, mica, and they are into the rocks like gneiss, granite, and sandstone. So you can see the minerals that are present in the or make the rocks. Silica, aluminium, magnesium, and iron are the major rock forming minerals. There are other minerals too in different rocks. There are three main types of rocks: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Each of these rocks are formed by physical changes such as melting, cooling, eroding, compacting. Compact is the pressure that is applied by the upper layers, or deforming, that are part of the rock cycle. Igneous rocks are rocks formed from cooling of magma. Magma that erupts onto Earth's surface is lava. The chemical composition of the magma and the rate at which it cools determine what rock forms as the mineral cool and crystallize. There are two types of igneous rocks. One is extrusive igneous rocks and the other is intrusive igneous rocks. The second type is sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks form by the compaction and cementing together of sediments, broken pieces of rock like gravel, sand, silt, or clay. Those sediments can be formed from the weathering, erosion of pre existing rocks. Sedimentary rocks also include chemical precipitates, the solid materials left behind after a liquid evaporates. The third, metamorphic rocks, forms when the mineral is an existing rock are changed by heat or by pressure within the earth. Quartzite is a metamorphic rock formed when quartz sandstone is exposed to heat and pressure. Within the earth, it is so hot that some rocks slowly melt and become a thick flowing substance called magma. Since it is lighter than the solid rock around it, magma rises and collects in magma chambers. Eventually, some of the magma pushes through vents and fissures to Earth's surface. Magma that has erupted is called lava. Some volcanic eruptions are explosive and others are not. The explosion of an eruption depends on the composition of the magma. If the magma is thin and runny, gases can escape easily from it. When this type of magma erupts, it flows out of the volcano. If the magma is thick and sticky, gases cannot escape easily. Pressure builds up until the gases escape violently and explode. Explosive volcanic eruptions can be dangerous and deadly. They can blast out clouds from the side or top of a volcano. These fiery clouds race down mountain sides, destroying almost everything in their path. Ash erupted into the sky falls back to the earth like powdery snow. If thick enough, blankets of ash can suffocate plants and animals, and humans too. When hot volcanic materials mixed with water from streams or melted snow and ice, mudflows form. Geologists are constantly studying and understanding the different reasons for volcanic eruptions that take place. Geologists are scientists who study the solid, liquid, and gaseous matter that constitutes the Earth and other terrestrial planets, as well as the processes that shape them. The first type of rock, that is the igneous rocks or the primary rocks. How are igneous rocks formed? Deep in the ground is molten rock called magma. Sometimes magma bursts through the surface, causing volcanic eruptions. Igneous rocks are formed when magma cools down and solidifies. When the magma cools above the surface of the earth, it is called as extrusive igneous rocks. When magma cools down below the surface, it is called intrusive igneous rocks. What is magma? Magma is the molten material located below the crust of the earth. It is mostly semi-fluid in nature. The magma at times get cooled and solidified in the crustal portion. Such solidified magma gives rise to intrusive igneous rocks. Lava is the hot and semi-fluvial material that is poured out during a volcanic eruption. Extrusive igneous rocks are formed out of lava. The term igneous is derived from the Latin word ignis, meaning fire. Igneous rocks originate deep within the earth near active plate boundaries or hotspots, then rises towards the surface. Intrusive or plutonic igneous rock cool down slowly, allowing individual mineral grains to have a very long time to grow. So they grow to a relatively large size. Intrusive rocks have a coarse grained texture. Extrusive igneous or volcanic igneous rocks solidify almost instantly when it, they are exposed to the relatively cold temperature of the atmosphere. Quick cooling means that mineral crystals don't have much time to grow. So these rocks have a very fine grained or very glassy texture. Hot gas bubbles are often trapped in the quenched lava, forming a bubbly vesicular texture. Main features of igneous rocks. As these rocks are formed out of the material from the interior of the earth, these are also referred to as primary rocks. Mostly these rocks appear hard and homogeneous. These are heavy as well. We do not get fossils in these rocks. The Maharashtra Plateau and the Sahyadris are formed out of igneous rocks. Basalt is a major example of igneous rocks. Basalt is impervious, which means it cannot absorb water, heavy and compact. This rock has a high proportion of iron. Pumice is an example of igneous rock. This is formed out of volcanic froth. It is a porous rock. As its density is quite low, it can float on water. Most of the hill forts in Maharashtra have lakes or elephant yards. Actually, these are old quarry sites. A quarry is a type of mine from where the stones are extracted. The most common purpose of quarries is to extract stone for building materials, and these quarries have been used for thousands of years. Rock was extracted from these sites and used for construction of the fort and other buildings. In the pits and dugouts left behind after rock extraction, water was allowed to accumulate, and these lakes, tanks, etc. were created. Figure 7.3 shows a reservoir on a fort. You can see the image of Raigad Fort, Janjira Fort, and Naldurg Fort. You can see the lake. Sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary means settling, composed of layers of sand, gravel, mud, and other sediments that have settled at the bottom of the oceans. These materials are cemented and hardened into rocks by means of great pressure exerted on them below the Earth's surface. Sedimentary rocks cover about 8% of the Earth's crust. Eroded sediments end up in the water and begin to settle. It's called sedimentation. With time, more layers pile up and presses down the lower layers. It's called as the compaction. More layers or strata and further compaction forces out water of the layers. Salt crystals glue the layers together. Cementation takes place. Rock mass formed is sedimentary. Due to continuous variation in the temperature, rocks develop cracks. Similarly, the water percolating through rocks dissolves the soluble material. This leads to the weathering of rocks. They get disintegrated or decomposed. They get broken or decomposed. Yes, that is, they get reduced to pieces. These rock materials get transported by rivers, glaciers, winds, etc. towards low-lying areas and are deposited there. One after the other, layers of sediments get deposited in this way. The upper layers exert heavy pressure on the lower layers. This leads to compaction of material and development of sedimentary rocks. One can easily see layers in the sedimentary rocks. While layers are getting deposited, the remains of dead animals or plants get buried in these layers at times. Therefore, One may find fossils in sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are generally brittle and lightweight. Most of them are porous, that means they can absorb water. Sandstone, limestone, shale, coral, etc. are sedimentary rocks. One may find coal seams in sedimentary rocks. Coal seams is a dark brown or black banded deposit of coal that is visible within layers of rocks. The buried remains of dead animals or plants become subject to heavy pressure. As a result, their impressions get marked in the rocks. At times, the buried animals or plants get petrified. Petrified means that slowly change into a stone or a substance like stone over a period of time. These are called fossils. The study of fossils provides information about the life in that period. Near Jaipur city in Rajasthan, red sandstone is found. This type this is a type of sedimentary rock. This rock was used for the construction of the Red Fort at Delhi. As sandstone is relatively soft, it is easy to carve in it. Metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic means has been changed from once an igneous or sedimentary rock. It turns into a metamorphic rock. Metamorphism, the process by which a rock is changed into metamorphic form, is called metamorphism. Metamorphic rocks cover about 27% of the Earth's crust. Volcanic activity and other Earth movements constantly take place on the Earth. While these are occurring, the igneous or sedimentary rocks in that region are subjected to tremendous pressure and heat. This leads to changes in the nature as well as the chemical composition of the original rocks. The crystals in the original rocks get recrystallized. This means the rocks are getting metamorphosed. The rocks formed through such a process are called metamorphic rocks. These rocks do not contain fossils. Metamorphic rocks are heavy and hard. These rocks do not contain fossils. Coal gets metamorphosed when it undergoes heavy pressure and intense heat. After coal gets metamorphosed into diamond, its price increases. We burn coal while we use diamonds as ornaments. Study the table given below and try to understand the metamorphosis. The first type of rock, that is granite, the original rock, undergoes metamorphosis and changes to gneiss. Gneiss has many uses as a building material such as flooring, ornamental stones, gravestones, and other work surfaces. The next original rock is basalt. Basalt gets metamorphosed into amphibolite. Amphibolite is used as paving stones. The next is the sedimentary rock, that is limestone, gets metamorphosed or changed into marble. Marble is a material or a stone that is used in our day to day life. For example, the kitchen platform, decorative items, the flooring, etc. Next sedimentary rock is coal, which is changed or metamorphosed into diamond. Diamond needs no introduction. It is one of the most beautiful stone which is worn in ornaments and other jewelry by males and females. The next sedimentary rock is that of sandstone, which gets metamorphosed into quartzite. Quartzite is a decorative stone and may be used to cover walls as roofing tiles, as flooring and stair steps. It is nowadays being used in kitchens as countertops. It is harder and more resistant to stains than granite. Crushed quartzite is sometimes used in road construction. Shale turns into, after metamorphosis, into slate. Slate is used for flooring, gravestones, garden decorations, etc. The Taj Mahal at Agra is built in marble. Marble is a metamorphic rock. This rock was brought from mines in Makrana in Rajasthan. One realizes while taking a boat ride in river Narmada to the Bhedaghat range or the Bhedaghat Gorge in Madhya Pradesh that the river has cut its gorge through marble rock. Okay, the weathering has taken place at sunrise, sunset, and during full moon nights. These river banks present an enchanting scene. These river banks look extremely beautiful in the beauty of the moonlight. Figure 7.5 on page 43 shows the distribution of major rocks in Maharashtra. List the districts in Maharashtra where rocks other than basalt are found. The basalt rock formed out of volcanic eruption has spread over a vast region of our state. Granite rock is formed in the eastern parts and in South Konkan. Because of thick and extensive layers of basalt, Maharashtra does not have large reserves of mineral wealth. Therefore, mining activity is concentrated in South Konkan and in eastern Maharashtra. If you observe the map, the index is given. Basalt is the gray color, granite is still darker, laterite is brown, and sedimentary is yellow. So you see in Maharashtra, other than basalt, laterite soil is found in Sindhudurg in the south, and sedimentary rocks are found in Nandurbar, Dhule, Jalgaon, Buldana, Akola, and Amravati. Granite rock is found eastern parts of Maharashtra and is also found in South Konkan. Let us see the rock cycle. The rock cycle is the process by which rocks of one kind change into rocks of another kind. There are three main kinds of rocks: igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and sedimentary rocks. Each of these rocks can change into other kinds by physical processes like cooling, heating, melting, weathering, compacting, which means squeezing together tightly, cementing, and pressure. When heated deep underground, rocks become magma, that is liquid rock, and above the ground it is called lava. Sediments, the particles from the rock erosion and weathering, is the basis for sedimentary rock of the future. Igneous rock is hardened magma, which can happen above or below ground. It can melt into magma, erode into the sediment, or be pressed tightly together to become metamorphic. Metamorphic rock is igneous or sedimentary rock that has been heated and squeezed. It can erode into sediments or melt into magma. It is formed under extreme pressure and temperature deep inside mountain chains. Sedimentary rock is compacted sediments which can come from any other rocks plus remains of living things. It can erode back into sediment or be pressurized into metamorphic rock and be melted to magma, which forms igneous rocks. So, students, let us see what we have understood from this lesson. The first thing that we saw was what are rocks. We saw how rocks are formed. We learned that rocks are formed in the lithosphere, that is on land. We also looked at the different properties of rocks and minerals, how minerals are an important aspect of rocks. Minerals make rocks. Rocks are combined of different minerals and crystals. They have properties like luster, streak, shape, hardness, etc. We looked at the different types of rocks and the different minerals these rocks are comprised of: silica, magnesium, aluminium, etc. We studied about volcanoes, how they are formed. We understood the meaning of magma, that is hot molten lava, molten materials inside the earth's crust, and lava is when it spreads on the earth, when it comes out of the earth and it spreads. We learned how igneous rocks are formed. Molten lava that solidifies gives us igneous rocks. There are two types of igneous rocks: extrusive igneous rocks and intrusive igneous rocks. Granite, pumice are very good examples of igneous rocks. Then we learnt about sedimentary rocks. We understood that rocks are eroded and washed away by wind and water, only to later get collected layer upon layer, which gives us sedimentary rocks. Limestone, shale are good examples of sedimentary rocks. We learnt about fossils. Fossils preserve remains of organisms or lives of the ancient times. Thus, we learn a lot about the past creatures and animals of the past. We learned about the sandstone that is available in India, and a very good example is the Red Fort in Delhi, which is made completely of sandstone. After which, we understood about metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks or metamorphism is a process that change the original composition of rocks. Due to the heat and pressure, they create new rocks. For example, slate is metamorphosed form of shale. Diamond is the metamorphic rock of coal. We also know about the marble that we find is from limestone, that is a sedimentary rock. Taj Mahal is made up of white marble, which was bought from Bedaghat area in Madhya Pradesh. We also saw the distribution of rocks in Maharashtra: basalt, laterite, and sedimentary rocks found in Maharashtra. Basalt is found in plenty in Maharashtra. Boys, we have completed the lesson. See that you read the lesson at home.